game, which is like obviously a placeholder, so bad that you could never ever run them. Because like, yeah, legitimately, I don't think there's even a single champion outside of the two that we saw there in the form of Poppy and Cho'Gath that you would the enemy that any team could pick, and then we could just say, yeah, that's definitely not being played unless it's like already been picked for that role. Maybe Scion, I guess.
Yeah, the only ones I can think of are like Galio, the Donga, Scion. Yeah.
Hyverling is good though. Like,
He is good.
Not good necessarily, but good enough to be worth playing.
He is viable, but I guess if I were going to do a placeholder, I'd always go for the Donga. You know me, I'm always one for the Donga.
I was wanting to show it off to all the people that I can broadcast it live on television.
The last pick was LeBlanc as well, by the way, just to answer. I found out when I saw the pick come in, so I was kind of cheating, but there you go. So Ocelot will be playing LeBlanc. We've seen him play this quite a few times actually, and to very good effect. He's a strong LeBlanc player, he's very mechanically skilled, so should be an interesting matchup actually. And IQ's Yasuo against LeBlanc in mid. They do have Xin Zhao, so he's going to be able to knock up people and put that into last breath. So quite a bit of synergy.
Yeah, indeed. But what I've got to say here is that Gamers2 have picked themselves into this massive assassin composition again. They're playing super heavy pick style. But actually, the last time we saw them play, that was kind of where Denial was starting to fall down against Mao's yesterday. We did see them kind of have some difficulties coping with Mao's picking potential. And this time, Gamers2 have got like 3 major assassins, and they've got Leona to set them up. So gonna have to be very careful on the part of Denial to make sure they don't just get picked off one by one. But regardless, guys, we are going into the 3-minute delay timer, so we're just going to be going into a quick break while we wait for the game to load, and we will be right back.
After they came and destroyed the land, there was one spark of hope left for all of mankind.
Transform. Transform your state of mind. enter this mystical world. Transform your state of mind.
Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to the Hitbox Challenger Face-Off Finals Day between Gamers2 and denial.eu. We're not in the first game on Summoner's Rift, however we are paused because Kikis is having some issues loading in. So that's the reason we've had a bit of delay. Apologies for that. We're just going to basically chat to you guys, answer some questions from the chat as well until we jump back live. Spud, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good at the moment. We managed to get into the game, which is always a good thing. For those of you not been following us for the entire tournament, we have had some spectator issues on the servers on previous days, but right now does seem to actually work. I mean, it took quite a long time to load because Kick is obviously disconnected in the loading screen, and we were thinking, is it gonna? And then it didn't, which was actually quite pleasing.
Yeah, there was certainly a holding of breath on both of our parts there because it took a while, and I was thinking, oh please no, but fingers crossed it'll stay relatively stable for the rest of the evening. Still no idea where Kikis is. He hasn't reconnected. So if you have any questions from the chat, guys, feel free to throw them out. Also, while you're waiting, if you're watching this but you're not currently registered or following this stream, then please do so. It only takes about 10 seconds to register an account here on Hitbox and then press the follow and you will be good to go.
Yes, indeed. So do feel free to follow that. I don't know if we're going to be having any future stuff on this channel. I imagine there will be, but can't actually say anything for certain there because I never know anything that's going on about till like maybe a couple of hours beforehand. But it's okay because other people send me messages on Skype and then I know. Then I know what I'm
That's
doing.
That's the life of a shoutcaster. Other people tell you when to go and you're like, okay. You just show up.
Fine.
Okay, so apparently put some low volume music in the background. People saying, why can I only see the gamer's loading screen? That's because we're on a pause, and there's no point us putting up the in-game screen. Trust me, you're missing absolutely nothing. Kikis still hasn't reconnected, and we're about 4 minutes 30 or so on the pause timer. So that's pretty much all you've missed so far.
We're getting in there. I mean, you guys wouldn't even be able to see the chat anyway. There are macros being used, I will say that much. But nothing too severe going on in there at the moment. So we're still just going to be waiting, basically, up until the point where Kikis does pop up. So we'll see maybe if we can run a... Actually, did we already run a poll? I forget. We were certainly planning, I think, to run a poll in the Hitbox chat, which is one of the lovely features of Hitbox chat, as to what the prediction was for who was going to win this game. So if we haven't run that already... Can we run one? And if we have already run it, then I wouldn't mind knowing the result because I didn't notice it if it happened.
Apparently Ruben is going to make one. Ruben is our lovely producer, by the way, guys. He doesn't get a lot of love. In fact, I think producers are often the unsung heroes of the cast because without them there would be no casts to start with. So definitely give him some love in chat. But who do we think is going to win the best of 5? The poll has started. So you can see there in the chat, feel free to vote. Gamers2, obviously, or denial.eu, and we will try and count them up for you and give you notification on which way it's going to go. Kikis has reconnected, by the way, as we were speaking. They still haven't paused. Apparently, NIQ just told us that we're ready, so we should be live very, very shortly.
Yeah, hopefully so, and there we go. 5-second little unpause timer there, ticking down, and we are live onto the Rift. Both teams... looking like they're fanning out and going for a defensive posture at the moment, but we are seeing some pings coming down. I think we're not going to be seeing an early invade at the least, though.
Yeah, it doesn't look too likely at the moment. Keeping an eye on the poll as well, by the way, because I doubt anything's going to kick off just yet. Apparently it's about 50-50, so this is a close one. Even the viewers think this is going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, I've got to agree with them, though. These are both very similar teams, on a very similar level between the two teams as well. And I think you could say that their results are a very similar level as well. I know Gamers2 didn't do as brilliantly in the Coke series as they would have hoped. And I think actually, now that I think of it, they may have been knocked out by Denial last time. I don't actually want to say that as a certainty because my memory, as has been mentioned previously, is abysmal. But I'm actually inclined to say that may have been what happened to them last time. And it happened at a very early stage of the tournament. So even though Denial is the one that got to the LCS promotionals and then didn't manage to qualify, it may well be the case that Gamers2 have since then, because it's been a couple of months, been able to come on quite a pace.
And this vote is very, very close. 50.8% to Denial EU, so it's going back and forth right now. But this is a best of 5, guys. This is going to be the long haul. If it does go down to the wire, we could be here for a good few more hours of awesome League of Legends action. So definitely stay tuned. For what we do know right now, though, Spud, is that both top laners are going to be going to the top lane. We're not going to have any lane switch ups. Babooni and JWoww just met face to face. Just a couple of auto attacks, and that's about it.
Yeah, there really wasn't a lot of level 1 action there. We did see, of course, that little ward being placed there, which I guess will hold off the possibility of even like of a level 2 gank on mid lane from Morden, but although he is a very aggressive jungler, I don't think he's likely to go that far.
Yeah, it's definitely a fair point there. It looks as though Yasuo is playing super aggressive early game, and this is what you'd really expect, because Ocelot LeBlanc's not going to be able to do a great deal at level 1, but IQ is trying to push the envelope there and get as many advantages as possible. Meanwhile, at bot lane, there's going to be Leona and Graves up against Karma and Lucian. I swear that we saw this identical pairing last night, Spud. I'm pretty sure we did.
May well have been the case. Certainly very, very popular champions. I know we saw Lucian. Whoa, dude!
Whoa, that was ballsy play. He's going to take a load of damage and could be falling. There's the heal, actually, from Yuki just to save Dude. My goodness, that was very uncharacteristic, I have to say, from Dude. Normally, he's an extremely on-point support, and that very nearly through the lane.
He's very much feeling the pressure right now because he knows if they get pushed back in this bottom lane, they're just going to be suffering the poke endlessly. They need to be pushing their opponents back at least until he's got his level 3 himself. And he has actually healed for quite a lot. But the all-in now, he has to be very, very careful about, bearing in mind that the enemy still has several summoners, and he does not. Although Karma did use her exhaust, so there may be a little bit more equality there than I thought, since Dude has actually retained his as well.
Yeah, very, very close, though, in the process. Here is Morden waiting in the wings, in the bush. If Dude can land his Zenith Blade and get the Shield of Daybreak down, then I feel this gank is completely on. They've just hit level 3. They're trying to bait Woolite and Super Rays. Are they going to fall for this one, though? Woolite's been caught out of position, but the Zenith Blade misses. So all of that time that Morden spent waiting was for naught.
Yeah, he may have been able to steal away a little bit of experience from his own lane there, but certainly not going to be what he would have liked. And Dude basically didn't predict the dash there. He possibly could have seen that coming, but wasn't ready for it and didn't go for the follow along. Didn't obviously have his flash to kind of go for the really secure approach. You often see this done by the high level supports. They'll just flash Q rather than going for an unreliable Zenith Blade, but still could possibly have landed that Zenith Blade if he had predicted the dash away from Lucian.
Yeah, and I feel there was no reason not to predict it because Relentless Pursuit had not been used for a considerable amount of time, so he has to assume, oh, it's available, and he's going to use it as well. Not to knock Dude, normally he's an incredibly solid support. I've given him a lot of love in the past. I've actually said this bot lane from Gamers2 is very strong, and they actually do catch Woolite this time around. There's a Relentless Pursuit again. Woolite still has his flash available and heal, so he should be okay right now. He's going to be trading with Yuki. There's the flash coming in, and the inner flame as well. Dude would be exhausting Woolite just to get Yuki away, as that heal was used in the previous engagement. So lots of players flashing up red across the board.
Yeah, there was also a gank in the top lane, and we're going to be seeing another one as a follow-up.
Yeah, can JWoww get picked up by Babooni before he inevitably falls? In fact, I'm saying that, but there's the counter-strike. He's doing a lot of damage to Morden in this 1v2, and he's going to pick him up! Oh my goodness, that burst damage, though.
Yeah, I was not expecting it. Good usage of the reset on his auto attack from his W, but even so, wildly more damage than I was expecting. Like, I'm starting to... Like, he's not running any crit runes. He just had that much damage there.
The god Babunia, I am beginning to believe. That was insane.
And I can, like, normally I would say that was poor judgment from Morden as well, to keep sticking in on that fight that was going against him, but I just, like, I would have totally agreed with his call there. I was like, yeah, he's got this. He's got the damage. He's going to get the kill before Jax can turn it around. But nope, that was not what was the case. Partly, I think, due to the fact that Morden was struggling a bit on levels there. He only hit level 3 in the middle of that fight. But that's going to cost JWoww a lot.
Yeah, it certainly is, because Babuni now has blue buff and a Bilgewater Cutlass, and has hit level 6 before, so that's just insane. We speak a lot about how Jax will scale very hard into late game, well that's just pushed him a few steps beyond Irelia, who's already going to struggle as it is.
Up until that point, he was doing pretty well as well. Like, he had withstood a gank. That was what led Morden to go for that gank there, was that JWoww had already been ganked. Kikis got very, very low on a dive attempt and had recall, so he knew he was safe and it would be a 2-on-1. But because JWoww was forced out and he was left in that 1-on-1, it was a really, really awkward situation. And now, well, it looks like he's going to try and make some catch-up time, but I don't see Babunia bothering to get aggressive at this stage.
Every time that you see them engaging at bot lane, they're taking a bunch of damage as well, so Dude keeps trying to fire in the Zenith Blade, but it always seems to be backfiring, although they're going back in again. Yuki's going to do quite a bit of poke with the Q, the buckshot. And the results have came in from the poll as well. 52.8% of you think that denial.eu will win this best of 5. Very interesting result there to the poll.
Yeah, I can understand that, definitely. There is that consideration now that I have thought of it, that they were defeated in the past, but that was months ago, and teams in the challenger scene, especially relatively new ones that are sort of less than 6 months old, usually have a ways to go in terms of improving their teamwork and coordination, and both of these teams have had quite some time since then, so we'll see what the results are. It should out, I think, over the course of this series. We should be able to definitively say at the end of it, who is the better team?
Oh, definitely. I think this is going to answer a lot of questions on my mind and the viewers' mind as well. Kikis is taking so much damage out of nowhere from Ocelot, and he will fall as well. So that was massive burst, and Ocelot's also picked up the red buff on top of everything else.
Yeah, now he's going to be able to actually do a lot of hurting to NIQ with that red buff. It's almost like more valuable than blue.
Oh, Bilgewater Cutlass has been used from Babunia at the top. He's going to flash in now. Nice equilibrium strike, though. It's actually nearly going to turn the tables, but still will fall. Meanwhile, a bot lane Karma has secured that one on Graves. Here comes the calling. Is it good enough? Yes, it is. And they get the double at bot lane. So across the board, huge plays for denial.eu.
Yeah, and Dude is continuing to go for these engages, which thus far are not working out for them, but he has very little choice. He is Leona. If you're against Karma and you don't engage on her, she is almost always going to be able to outpoke you in the long run, short of being like Sona or Nami maybe, but yeah, not looking brilliant right now for Gamers2 across the board. Their top lane is obviously going to get outscaled, isn't doing great. You can arguably say Lucian is a stronger mid laner, top AD carry, and in the long run, we may even see some problems in the mid lane, although right now Ocelot's doing pretty well here in mid.
Yeah, Ocelot right now is the shining light for Gamers2, and they're just going to have to hope that he's grown a huge back to carry the rest of his team, because this is looking a bit ominous elsewhere, as you mentioned before. That's going to be the last breath on top of Ocelot, though. Lots of burst damage, but the distortion is going to come good. Zin's coming through as well, trying to gank into the mid lane, but hey, it's a LeBlanc. Very slippery, difficult to lock down champion. Top lane Babunia is just excelling against JWoww. JWoww can't even afford to go near his creeps, or he's going to get chunked down.
And Babunia can still freeze here. We may actually see JWoww look for a teleport play right now, because he has very little choice.
Mid lane. Oh, Morden nearly fell. Kikis is going to go down, tower diving. Oh my goodness, NIQ, can he actually lock down Ocelot here? It's going to be a close one. There goes the Steel Tempest. It will not be landing. And going back in actually for seconds. NIQ needs to be careful because Ocelot's doing quite a bit of damage with the double buffs as well. He's going to be jumping back in once again. NIQ could be going down here. Look at this mechanical play from Ocelot. That is huge, and he picks up his third of the game.
That was so clever there, just jumping back at the exact moment the wind wall came out, landing the silence, and in bot lane, another engage.
Solar Flare on top of Woolite. He's been stun locked, but he will be able to escape. Flash in from Yuki with collateral damage is not enough to actually secure that one. But they will force Woolite away for a few more moments and get some of this farm.
Still, a bunch of summoners just used by that bot lane and no kill conversion, so not necessarily what they would have been looking for, but Woolite clearly doesn't actually want to leave. He's got some health potions, it seems. He's going to be vamp sceptering by letting the reset on the golems happen there, but still closer on stuff, and now we need to see Ocelot trying to convert his advantage. He now needs to be starting to roam, looking for gank, because especially in top lane, right now, Gamers2 are going to be hemorrhaging golden experience.
Fully agreed with you. He needs to do something to stop this top lane from toppling over, because the Jax train is bearing down on Irelia, and it's just becoming a juggernaut. There is nothing to do that Irelia can do to stop this one, unless she gets a lot of help and quickly. However, Ocelot is looking to punish NIQ. He's 2 levels above, going constantly in, doing some damage. Okay, Ethereal Chains lands onto a minion, but it doesn't really matter. He's still 3-0. He still has the components of a Deathfire Grasp for 12 minutes. That is huge. Oh my god.
It is. Yeah, he's hitting hard right now, and he's got to be a little bit careful. You could see when he went for that little bit of harass there, he went all in with his W and his R going up in melee range. But you could see the only reason he did that was because Morden was there. He knew that even if there was a counter gank coming in from Kikis, he would have support. So he could actually make sure he took that risk, did a ton of damage to NIQ, and then therefore kind of put himself at an advantage. And it really didn't cost Morden much time just to sit in just in case.
Yeah, absolutely. But I am curious here, because Gamers2, Ocelot gets a lot of bad kind of rep from fans and such, but because he's had a few weak games, and he admits that freely himself, and normally the rest of his team can carry him if he's having a weak game. But what I love about Gamers2 is the fact that if the rest of his team aren't really pulling their weight, then Ocelot can stand up to the plate as well. They're a very difficult team to lock down, because there's so many individually talented players on their roster that if Ocelot gets rolling, you can bet your bottom dollar he is capable of getting JWoww back into this game. Same with bot lane as well. So, and he's on the right character to do it as well here, Spud. He can roam a lot, as he mentioned.
Yeah, and it's that triple assassination threat they've got going with the Kha'Zix, LeBlanc, and Irelia. That will be super, super scary once the towers start falling and they roam around. Even if they can just catch NIQ here and look to roam off of that, that could be huge.
Oh, nice wind wall, but still the burst is coming in, and NIQ will be finding himself dead. 4-0 Ocelot on the rampage. And this is the main thing that I like to see from Morden. We've mentioned a couple times in the past that he's very, I wouldn't say greedy, but he last hits a lot as a jungler. Giving these kills to Ocelot could prove to be all the difference in this game.
Yes, it will. And we also see a fine bot.
My goodness, these teams are just bloodthirsty. You can see Yuki's being zoned out from Super Ace, gets snared down, but that will buy Woolite enough time to back on away. And Graves is starting to reach that stage in the game as well, alongside Leona, where he is a real threat. If Solar Flare, collateral damage come on top of one another, Woolite's health is just going to fly down.
Yeah, especially if Morden gets there to help out, there is huge potential, because you could always initiate with Solar Flare.
Yeah, top lane, JWoww again has just been chunked down from Baboonia. No huge surprises there. Blade of the Rune King already on Jax. And CS lead starting to open up pretty significantly there. The bot lane again. Here comes the combination that I was talking about previously, and it will manage to pick up the kill on Woolite. So now they're going to look to rinse and repeat on Super A's, but there isn't quite enough follow-up damage. However, damage has been done, and that's going to be Lucian dead in the death chamber for a good few seconds. 15 to be precise.
Yeah, and this is... he's actually gotten himself a remarkable amount of gold there. I'm not entirely sure how he's managed it, because Graves there went for the pickaxe. You could see that item there built onto him. I doubt he's going for the Infinity Edge. Most likely he was forced to back without the money for BS Sword and thought, right, well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make sure I get that pickaxe. I thought he could also afford a full Bloodthirster finish there, but actually that was just my maths on stream, which usually goes very, very poorly for me. So... actually, not as big of a gold gap between him and Lucian as I thought. But now with that much flat AD, because Bloodthirster is not a super efficient like flat AD. It's pretty efficient, but it's not like if you literally just want flat AD, the lifesteal is wasted, as it were. And that means that the next time Dude's ultimate comes up, you can expect to see them go for the engage again, because they have so much burst with that build.
They certainly do. And speaking of burst, I can only imagine that Ocelot is on a quite a 1.7k. So that's pretty terrifying, Spud.
It's a DFG at least.
Yeah, that's a DFG, potentially Sork Shoes, if that's what he wants to go for next for the extra penetration. So that's going to be a pretty terrifying Ocelot on LeBlanc when we do resume the action. The reason you can see the kind of be right back screen right now on the overlay is because we do have another pause. This time it was in from Baboonia. So, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's going well for them. It has been one of those momentum kind of games, though, Spud, that for a few minutes there, it looked very much like denial.eu were going to run away with this game, but Ocelot stood up to the plate, and he's 4-0 right now.
And it's a funny thing. You wonder if there's a connection with the fact that Ocelot got a couple of kills in the mid lane, and then in like an independent fight, Gamers2 outplayed their opponents and end up getting some kills in the bottom lane. Maybe you can explain it with just power curves, but wow! Ow!
Yeah.
Damn!
I'm having some issues with the live client right now because apparently I'm behind time. I've pressed live and it seems to be alright. So I'm on 15:37 just to check with you two guys.
I'm fast forwarding right now. I'm on 43, 44, 45. Yep. Okay, right. There we go. We are synchronized. We're getting very efficient at this. We are practically military in our time sinks, but they are now getting onto this dragon here. Gamers2 should be able to just get this, although if they are too slow, Kikis and Baboonia are both heading down there pretty quick.
They are. Dragon is going to get picked up from Gamers2 pretty comfortably and have to feel. There we go. Warden just secures that one comfortably in the end, although there was a bit of pressure from Kikis. Here they come from the backside. Solar Flare, very nice. Baboonia and Kikis both get caught by that one. Needs to be careful though, because Woolite's doing quite a bit of damage by himself with that early Bloodthirster. He did use culling before on Yuki, so his ultimate's not available, but he will force the flash regardless. Woolite doesn't want to overextend because here comes Ocelot from the side. Oh my goodness, Woolite, you were way too aggressive. He may get away with it though. Re-engage comes on from both Kikis and Baboonia, and Ocelot has to turn tail and run.
Couldn't quite land the ethereal chains to proc the second sigil there. Ocelot didn't get his full burst combo off, and we're seeing actually now an interesting thing there. I was seeing double teleports, so I assume they were going to the same place, but we are actually seeing Gamers2 rotating their top laner to mid lane to hold the tower, whereas the top laner of his opposition just headed to top to hold that tower. So bit of farm here going to JWoww, and that's actually very important for him because obviously he's still having trouble in that top lane in the one-on-one sense, but as long as he can get himself a decent amount of farm, he can still be a big team fight presence.
Yeah, certainly can. And when you've got Ocelot as well firing in with all the threat that he's going to bring to the table, it's hard to really turn around and try and deal with Irelia. You can see right now that they're engaging very hard on Super A's. A flash came in from Dude. And it looks like Super Ace is going to be fine regardless, so that was a lot of time expended for effectively nothing.
He did actually flash in the end, Super Ace, so that summoner spell was used, but yeah, not a bad trade as far as he's concerned. Flash for flash and 3 people wasting their time. And Gamers2 need to be very efficient with their time. They need to make sure, basically, that they're always one step ahead in pushing the minion lanes out, so that Baboonia isn't allowed to just sit top lane and force people to come to him. If Baboonia is always reacting to what Gamers2 is doing, forcing him into team fights, he's a lot less of a threat, because in a team fight, Irelia is very, very comparable to Jax, whereas in a one-on-one split-pushing duel, Jax wins every day.
Oh man, Jax is even taking a bunch from Ocelot right now, as big as he is. So he has to go back. Doesn't have any mana resistance, I was going to say, yeah, because that's the thing. Magic resistance is what I was looking for.
Very resistant to Rise.
Yeah, well, actually, it wouldn't be too terrible, but against Ocelot, not
really.
A
very useful stat. I tell you, a ton of different characters would love to have Rise resistance if they are top laners in the current meta. But right now, Gamers2 in general look like they're building up for this mid lane push. Woolite is out in the bottom lane though, and there's a lot of vision, so he can push a long way.
He certainly can, and that seems to be what he's going for right now. You can see pings around the blue buff. Not entirely sure why. Ward has just gone down. Meanwhile, Yuki and Dude are going to try and push the mid lane. Try and get these creeps working in their favor. Try and get some vision control as well. Because as we mentioned yesterday, it's so important. Especially when you have a LeBlanc on your team to get the vision control. Top lane though, Baboonia could find himself in a bit of a predicament here. But Morden will be backing away for now. He stood on top of a ward.
Yeah, the ward obviously did... Oh, wow. That was unfortunate timing. The ward did just run out as he used his
Oh,
sweeper there. Oh,
Well, like, oh, he is going to escape. Just about. But that was really touch and go for a few moments.
yeah, Morden's got to watch himself right now because he's the one sat on the ward. Kikis did know that was coming, but didn't really feel like dodging it anyway. That's fine, it's just missiles. What do missiles do to a man with a spear anyway?
That's very true. That is true. And he will be backing away. But again, it's almost like denial.eu, even though they're slightly behind, they're playing more aggressive. They're trying to dictate the pace of this action.
And it's a big important fact.
Oh, that combo was beautiful from NIQ and Kikis. That is why they picked the Xin and Yasuo together. Ocelot could do nothing. Even with all of his escaping mechanics, still died top lane to add to their woes. Babuni is going to comfortably kill JWoww, actually losing very little health in the process. And suddenly it's bounced back. This seesaw of League of Legends has gone back towards denial.eu.
And the big spike in that top lane from Babunia, he stacked up the third hit and the Empower reset at the same time. JWoww was ready for it and he jumped away to a minion, but it just wasn't enough because the only thing that was necessary to finish him off was the leap strike damage. So he dropped like a stone, and yeah, really good kill there for Denial. Getting the Ocelot shut down now was so huge for them. Means he isn't going to be around, he's going to be able to roam as effectively, and it gave them that safety to go for that kill in the top lane. And of course now they've taken the tower there as well.
Looking like Ocelot maybe going for the Void Staff next, has the components for it. Cullen comes in, will White be able to steal this one away? No, he will not, and Ocelot does pick up the blue. So, Ocelot's first death gave 300 gold, I should say, across to Kikis, which is always nice for a Xin. 3-0 Jax at top with 206 farm is just colossal right now, Spud. There's no other words that really come to mind. I don't think a great deal can deal with him at the moment. He could even 1v2 at this stage.
Kind of depends on the situation. Ocelot does still have a ton of burst. If he's finished that Void Staff, he's going to be able to cut through Babunia right now, who is so very squishy compared to what a late game Jax is going to look like. Yes, his ultimate does give him magic resist, but with only a null magic mantle in his build and the phage component of the Triforce as defensive items, Ocelot can shred him for 70-80% of his health if he gets a full combo off. And that, if that's comboed with anyone else, even JWoww, would still be enough. So he has to consider that possibility of being ganked by LeBlanc. But of course, he's perfectly happy to draw Ocelot to top lane and then just retreat while his team takes advantage of the lack of presence from LeBlanc elsewhere.
Exactly. If they're drawing two players to top lane to deal with the inhib push that's happening right now, they're going to lose presence elsewhere on the map. And that's where you could start to see some more farm coming up from the likes of Yasuo, who's 0-3, but he's done a pretty good job in mid of contending with Ocelot after Ocelot getting pretty fed. I mean, let's be honest, he has been fed in this game. Whereas Lucian would love to get some more farm right now and be more of a determining factor, finish off that Triforce so he can kind of escalate to the next stage. And IQ coming in, catches Ocelot completely out of position. That burst damage is huge, but that's going to be actually the flash in from NIQ. He's overextending, but Babunia is coming in the meanwhile. NIQ is still giving chase. Here comes Kikis from the side. Are they able to keep Ocelot alive? He goes back, but he's going to get killed by NIQ in the end. And now Babunia is going underneath the tower. He's huge, and he's able to tank this one up for his team.
Yeah, and now Morden's actually looking for the counter engage, as is JWoww, but they're going for different targets.
Babunia is not going to fall. Very, very close. Yeah, so far from Gamers2's perspective. They are going to lose another tower off the back of this engage, though. And they are starting to hemorrhage objectives. 5-1 on towers is a pretty big difference at 23 minutes in the game. And this is the problem with Ocelot at the moment. He's getting caught out quite a bit, and he has in the last few games that I've seen. He's a very, very good player, but when everything rests on him, on his back, and he gets caught, that pretty much puts them in a no-win position.
Yeah, it's a really bad situation to find yourself in. There is there's almost like a glimmer of comfort, of course, now, because there's only one inner tower left. I mean, outer tower, inner tower, whichever, the non-inhib tower. And if Jax pushes that one down, that's still not going to push the goal difference between the two teams to the point of no return. They've held on reasonably well thus far, Gamers2. And now, as long as they don't get a Baron stolen away from them, they should be okay. Morden's chasing down NIQ here, but I don't think he's going to get this.
No, there's not a great deal of chance because NIQ is actually pretty big at this stage. However, if Ocelot comes around the corner, this can be a possibility. It's now a 3-on-1 and he gets the double kill. So bouncing back with the vengeance. Will JWoww fall to the tower? No. Last tower shot probably wouldn't have been enough anyway. And he will survive.
Yeah, I spoke as if he hadn't noticed the tower there, but maybe he was aware of it and just felt supremely confident. But Yuki is going to find Kikis here. Not going to be able to actually get anything from it, but he will steal the white. Oh, Morden will steal the white. Pro last hitting skills.
Scumbag Morden. There's the solar flare on top of Woolite. He is completely caught out. I'm not sure why. There was no chance he was keeping that tower alive. And actually, with his death of 33 seconds, they may think about rotating onto Baron, although a couple of players are pretty weak, so maybe playing safe. Yeah, they're going to play safe. That's a smart play.
Yeah, a little bit dangerous going for Baron at this point, because if you're in the pit, you are vulnerable to several things, two of which are the Xin Zhao and Yasuo combo, and then the follow-up from Jax, and that alone is probably enough to scare you off it normally, especially at this stage of the game. You don't want to have to risk it too much when you're that squishy, but that was a good succession of kills there for Gamers2, and it's very much equalized the playing field again. Gold, still very similar between the two teams, and 2k at this stage is noticeable, but it's not big. It's not a major deal.
Definitely. It's not going to break the game for either side, and this is an extremely close game. They also have the kills as well. I mean, gold only tells you part of the picture. A lot of that gold is on Ocelot, who's one of the carries, which is always good. And also, Graves hasn't been doing a terrible job either, so Yuki is slowly but surely getting that. As Last Whisper and Bloodthirster, and Dude is going to catch himself an NIQ. Nice wind wall there from him. Here comes the cavalry from the side. Dude is now in all sorts of trouble. They have aggroed Baron, but it is going to be enough damage. Woolite takes down the kill, but Boonia takes out Graves as well. It just seems every time Gamers2 gets some momentum, it gets completely shut down from Denial.
Yeah, it does. They have a small saving grace right now in that Baron attempt is being brushed by Denial. They have no real reason to force this right now, because there is a potential for Gamers2 to try and stop them. But actually, with the teleport from Babunia, they're going to secure that. They will be able to get this. I don't see this going as 2.
Ooh, Babunia is taking quite a bit of damage. He's taking the brunt of it as well. Here comes Morn from the side. Can he get the Baron steal? No, he can't. He has to back on away. Here comes Woolite from the side. Double kill for him. And he's suddenly exploding in this game. They're going to get the Baron on top of everything else. And that's a huge swing of gold, momentum, and also raw power in the side of denial.eu.
Babunia now is just so massive. Remember, of course, Jax is one of the few characters that takes double effectiveness from that Baron buff, and that means he is now just a monster. He is so tanky. 3,100 health, that's probably more than anyone else on the field. He's got the regen from Baron, he's got the resistances, he's got massive magic resistance now if he activates his ultimate as well. And that is just going to make him nigh on unkillable. So, what do you do if you're up against someone that tanky with that much damage, who can now probably, and I don't want to quote this just in case he doesn't feel that confident himself, but one-on-one against JWoww, he's probably strong enough to die if killed.
Yeah, and another problem as well is, yes, Jax is huge, but Boonia is massive, but so are the rest of the team now of denial.eu. They're starting to catch up as well. 4 and 2 Lucian is pretty big. 1 and 4 doesn't look great from Yasuo, but his items are starting to accumulate themselves. And on top of that, you got Xin, who can just dive in and do a fair chunk of damage as well. If you're Graves, if you're Yuki in this situation, it's looking a bit bleak. I don't know how he can position in a way where he doesn't get assassinated, but can still do damage.
That is one of the difficulties you'll tend to suffer as Graves in the late game. And it's exacerbated more than usual because he's against Yasuo's wind wall. And that means his contribution from a long range is literally nothing. Like, normally you can at least throw, you know, your buckshot, your smokescreen, your ultimate down and try and contribute to a fight that way. And if you're Lucian, you can do an equivalent with the culling. But the wind wall can block all of that. So if you're in a bad position, you will do nothing. And you're right. It's so scary, so difficult to get in close enough. Otherwise, as AD carries, at least you've got a little bit more range to deal with.
Yep, DD, and he's suffering. There's no two ways about it. Yes, Ocelot is big. Yes, Ocelot's able to nuke pretty successfully, but well, you don't have much follow-up damage. And when JWoww's been caught again, I say that actually it's the complete opposite. NIQ got baited. Well and truly, he is going to fall. That could be huge here for Gamers2, because now they don't have to deal with NIQ's hard engage. That being said, Woolite still picking up towers at the bot lane.
Yeah, that they'll be okay with that trade here, but Do they want to stick around? Please no, EU West. Don't do this to me.
Oh my god.
No! No! No!
How many people do I have to sacrifice before a game to make the EUS gods happy? How many? Give me a number and I'll do it. Oh man.
Well, okay, so if we start with the Riot offices, I don't know. Oh no. Well, we could keep staring at this screen and hope that it'll start working again. It might do in the future. This is about the right time of day, however, based on past experience, for it to start crashing and burning like a meteorite. So, I did just get unable to download spectator data. The game will now exit. I'm going to try reconnecting, and hopefully it will work, because sometimes, guys, it will. Sometimes, on the other hand, it won't.
Yeah,
that is a bad thing when that happens.
Yeah,
it makes me very angry.
And people saying in chat it's not EUS. Trust me, it is. It definitely is, because we've had this issue now, I want to say 6 or 7 times in the last week. It's pretty much happened daily for us, because we cast pretty regularly, myself, Spuddington, Ruben, as well on production, and we've suffered from this for ages. Apparently it seems to be alright, but this is normally an indication of worse things to come. I'm just going to throw that out there. And it's froze again.
Right.
So Ruben, if you can just leave the game thing open for a few seconds so we can show the viewers what we see on our end. Might give them a better understanding. Yes. Basically, as you can see in a few moments right now, everyone's frozen, and then randomly you'll get people moving on the screen. Minions aren't moving, towers aren't attacking. This is EUS spectator issues just firing out and not allowing us to do anything. So you can see right now, there are issues on the spectator client. And this is a wide thing. We have multiple language streams. They're all saying the same thing.
Yeah, and it's rather poorly timed, I'm gonna be honest. The one benefit I get, okay, not benefit, but the one like minor thing here is that the game does keep going. As far as the players are concerned, it's usually quite alright right now. Like they won't suffer any ill effect, they won't have any lag. When the game ends, we'll be able to tell you what the actual result was. It's just that it's really disappointing, because I was getting into that. I was really getting into that game, and I have tried restarting my client. I will try it again, but it will keep going for now on that front.
This is very indicative of what we've seen over the last week, though, and we've tried in the past relogging the client. We've tried reconnecting a bunch of times. We've tried spectating other people's games. Nothing works. Like, nothing does. This is incredibly disappointing and frustrating for us as casters. I'm sure it is even more so for you guys watching that are fans of these two teams and want to see how it plays out, especially as his first game, Spud, has been really close and exciting. I wanted to see the climax of this game, but unfortunately, it may not be possible.
Yeah, Gamers2 were starting to lose their grip on this game, I'd say, but it's still not beyond hope for them. But, well, we are coming back in. I believe we... well, for me, right now, it's... Okay, everyone's moving for me right now. I don't know if that's the same for everyone else right now.
I'm on loading screen.
Okay, Metas is on the loading screen, so I'll be taking this for a brief time right now. And actually, we have got some play-by-play going on right now. Ocelot going to have to juke out of the way. Babunia, though, will be getting caught out. And I do not know what the context of this is, but Gamers2 actually did just get a 3-4. I have no idea how many kills they just got. I also don't know if I'm synchronized with everyone else in terms of... well, okay. So apparently Ruben's 20 seconds behind, which means the stream is 20 seconds behind.
Spuds. Time check.
33, 28, 29,
okay.
30.
You're considerably behind myself and Ruben, who are both on 33, 58, Ruben, right?
Oh, wait, I'm there. 59,
okay.
34, 3401, 3402.
Yeah, so
Whoa!
We seem to be on the same time. Let's just hope it stays stable.
Thank you, whoever sacrificed to the Elder Gods.
Yes.
That was very good of you. Very nice, and the sacrifice as well. Thank you for your sacrifice. It was well deserved, well used, and we actually have a game to cast again, which is lovely.
Your sacrifices have been duly noted, and hopefully they'll refill the EUS tank long enough to finish this game at least. So 12 to 15 the scoreline, about a 5.4k advantage in terms of monetary gain in favour of denial.eu, and you can see there 7 to 5 on towers. So it's a very, very close game here. It's been ebbing and flowing throughout. You got Ocelot still is carrying his team 10-3, but the gold is starting to even out a tiny bit more. Irelia has caught up somewhat to Jax, so we're not going to see that clobbering that we saw previously.
Yeah, and I think that's partly because Jax was seen in team fights recently as opposed to continuing to split push to increase his advantage. But this situation right now is very, very good for Gamers2. They've got the Baron control, they can force it whenever they want, and that's why that massive minion wave in the bottom lane is just knocking down that tower. That was on full health when we got back into this, and now it's probably going to drop. Might not, actually, there is a cannon creep there to hold it, but it's certainly lost a lot of health for that.
Yep, lost a bunch. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Denial are going to be congregating as 4, make that 5 soon. Babunia's coming down, and you can see the Gamers2 are reacting to this situation. All 5 of their players starting to lump around the same area. So, all fire is going to be raining down very shortly. Baron is available, so is Dragon, just came live, and therefore you have to expect that something big is going to happen in the very near future.
Yeah, in these kinds of situations, you often see teams try and sneak the dragon. Like, they'll send one person to try and solo it while continuing to keep their pressure over the Baron area. But it's always a bit risky, because if the enemy calls your bluff and looks for an engage, especially if they've got some kind of speed up like a Karma, it suddenly becomes very risky. No, no, you're not allowed to do... Okay, it's fine. If you just tell it no, it stops. It's like a dog.
Have to train this puppy that is known as EUS and hope that it abides you. They say your dog's a man's best friend. Let's hope that's the same for EUS. At the moment,
I'm unconvinced based on past experience.
At the moment, it is kind of taking a dump on the floor and then wiping its nose in it. That's pretty much what's happening in my view.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree, honestly, at this point, but it brought itself back. You know, it was wobbling over the precipice for a brief moment there, but it came back. So well done there, EU West. We are going to continue anthropomorphizing game servers on this channel for a significant amount of time now, but Gamers2 are still jockeying for position over this Baron pit. They've got the control, but I just don't feel like they feel they're strong enough to go for it, and they may be able to catch Babunia here. JWoww is setting this up.
Yeah, if they can catch one player, that could be huge, especially if it's Babunia. He's taking a lot. Can he stall enough for the rest of his team to get here? No, he can't. He is going to be falling down to JWoww, and that could be huge. Are they going to want to engage after this one? Woolite is taking so much damage from Morden. The Solar Flare will miss. Is that going to prove to be crucial right now? As Yuki is taking so much damage from Kikis, but they get the double kill. They're going to get the third as well from Graves, and suddenly everything is collapsing from denial.eu. They do get a kill in retaliation on Kha'Zix, but it's still a 3-on-1 exchange.
But why on earth? And also it's going for Woolite. He's going to get that. Wow, okay, Yuki's going to get that. Nice flash, Yuki. He was ignited, but regardless, that's still huge. They just won several fights in a row. And the other thing right there is I don't understand why Denial went for the re-engage there. They went in with Yasuo and Xin after they had already lost Babunia. And that just meant that they made a bad problem significantly worse and put Gamers2 on, I'd say, ahead now.
Yeah, definitely ahead, especially at this stage of the game. Again, at certain points in the game when stuff like inhibs are down or Baron has fallen or whatever, gold ceases to be as important. And this is the power play, the passage of play that Gamers2 are going to be looking to really punish denial.eu. I have to question Babunia there. Pushing top, we've mentioned this so many times that vision is key. And he was pushing top spot with 0 vision. He had no idea that he was being barreled down on from Gamers2. And I also agree, that re-engage afterwards, it just seemed like tunnel vision to me. The red mist descended and they were like, we have to fight this. Even though they really didn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you are going to push top solo with no vision and you know they've been in the Baron area recently, you just have to account for that. You have to say, well, is my team in position to take an objective in return for my death? What will be the consequences if I am caught right now? Can I delay them for long enough for them, for the team to rush down the middle and go for the inhib? He was just pushing top to get the minions going. He would have been better, honestly, to just set up a slow push minion wave where you kill the melee minions and allow that wave to build up into this massive blob, and then wait for Gamers2 to try and clear that, because then you can obviously take something else like the dragon, for instance, a low value objective off that. And now he's pushing again, and I think he's already doomed.
I don't understand this mentality. He had such a good early game, but everything is falling to shreds right now. They're gonna commit so much to killing Babunia, but it's so important because he's got 60 seconds on the death chamber. The rest of his team, however, are going to push through mid, and they should be able to secure this free inhibitor, although it isn't free because it's cost them at least 1 life. But still, they're trying to make objectives, and they are going to pick that one up. So in that case, not a complete loss.
Yeah, that time I think may have been a little wiser than I had thought at the time. So he was able to actually just take the inhib, but what will they lose in return? They've got 35 seconds here. Gamers2 are going to want to take something. Can they afford to dive, though? They are very, very strong right now. If Walleye is trapped away from the inhib here, they could lose that tower very easily.
Yeah.
Oh god, he face planted!
Yeah, he should be alright.
That's actually a big deal, though, because it's way delayed how long it's taken to get here. Now he's forced to throw the culling across.
Yes, he is. Still another 10 seconds on Jax. That tower will be falling, so a kill for a inhib, but also a tower now in favor of Gamers2. Walleye could be falling. That was really poor positioning, I have to say, especially when you know what you're up against. He's going to be falling as well for 60 seconds. It's like Jax resurrects to find themselves in another 4v5 situation. Will be the inhibitor falling as well. Big passage of play for Gamers2, who still have the Baron buff as well.
Chase is on, though. It looks like Kikis is not going to give up on this. He's only got Merc Treads, though. No mobility boots.
Kikis is very nearly going to get crushed on from Onslaught, but that combination was huge. That was mid-distortion from NIQ. Absolutely massive. And now it's a 2-for-2 trade, albeit a slightly delayed one. But with 2 players dead for 50+ seconds, and with it being Irelia and also Ocelot, they lack quite a bit of damage. They lack a bit of punch, and Babunia is still alive.
If he can catch another person, this would be huge.
It would. He's going to be popping off his Blade of the Rune King and Counter-Strike on top of Mord, and he's going to get knocked into the air. That should be a kill. In fact, they've turned it back around, and Graves will be killing Yasuo. Super aggressive play does not pay off. Here comes the Zenith Blade. Shield of Daybreak not able to land. But again, they hold off the onslaught. Only just though.
So I hate to do this at such a tense time, but can I do another time sync? I think I might be off again.
42-5.
42, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Okay, because I did actually just pause it for like 2 seconds to delay myself. But okay, I was slightly ahead of you, but no worries. We back to the action.
Well, is Ruben ahead of me as well? Ruben, what's your time? Okay, we're on the same time then. All of us are on synced. Good stuff.
That's okay. Right. Okay, sorry. Back to the game then. It's one of the small penalties. Penalties of having EU West down quite often is then you don't know if it's going down. You don't know if you're going to have a problem. So you're like, I don't want to be casting 2 minutes into the future.
Exactly.
That looks a bit weird.
That's one of the knock-on effects of the of EU West crashing. Go on. I'm going to get the defibrillator.
We said the magic words. We said EU West crashing. Instantly gone, dead.
Oh, I need to get the defibs out. The heart pumping again. Come on, do we have any doctors in the house? Do we have any doctors? If you're a doctor, type in chat.
You know, the magicians.
Oh,
like
Jesus.
That. All right. Well, so the magic words to make it crash are EU West crashes. So say it backwards, and it'll be fine. Can you say EU West crashes, but backwards? Because I can't.
Not off the top of my head. I'd have to type it out. Or it appears if we say anything, it crashes. That's the problem. Just any kind of wordage, and it just goes, nope, I'm done.
It may just be spectating it at all is causing it to crash. It may actually be something completely unrelated.
It could be.
That can't be right, though. But
could be the temperature of our room. The mean temperature of all 3 of our collective rooms could be the reason the US crashing. Anything at this stage could be the reason. I'm getting the request failed thing. Game will now exit.
Time to reconnect, I guess, because maybe it will be functional next time. It worked. I mean, it worked for like 10 minutes there, probably?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Oh, Ruben wants to bet €5. Does anyone want to take this bet? He's going to bet €5. It will not work. Anyone want to take that?
I don't want to take. I don't want to take that bet.
I want to take it. I don't trust the US enough to make any kind of bets, good or bad, on it, how stable it's going to be. But if anyone wants to take that bet in chat, feel free to type it, and we'll see if you win the €5.
You could make the Stephen Hawking bet though. Like you can bet that it's going to crash. No, wait. See, Stephen Hawking bet, right? Is where you bet that the thing goes wrong, because that way, whichever way it goes, you win. You lost. It's working. Well, that's great.
Well, Wins took the bet. He said, I take the bet. And he won the bet, Ruben. So you have to pay up, dude. You have to pay the man. He'll pay you on DreamHack if you show up to DreamHack Wins. So there you go. You go to the Chaos TV production crew, ask for Ruben, and you'll get €5. There you go.
I think you'll deserve it, frankly, for that level of effort.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably try and assess what happened while we weren't here. Because right now, I'm checking people for Baron buffs. It looks like the Baron buff must have timed out. The Baron has, in fact, respawned. So, yes, indeed. And we do have one inhib down in this bottom section of Denial's base. I just can't really fathom what exactly happened there, but it does seem like we're going to be finding ourselves doing a Baron dance. And when I say a dance, I mean an attempted sneak, but they can both jump over the wall. The only danger with that, though, is that then the rest of Denial could rush this down, which means they don't want to jump over the wall right now.
They certainly don't. I just hope we're all synced because this fight is kicking off. Solar Flare comes in, Babunia has GA right now, so he's extremely tanky. Baron goes down though from one. They're going to be re-engaging on top of this one. Grace is being locked down. Beautiful mechanical play to kite away from Kikis from Yuki, and he is actually going to turn this one back around successfully. However, JWoww is going to be falling. The front lines is now dead for Gamers2, and they have to run away. Both of the carries have to put their tail between their legs and just run hell for leather, otherwise they are going to be falling. Nice play from Ocelot. He'll be flashing, but look at NIQ's movement. He is chasing very, very quickly. Steel Tempest comes through, and even though they haven't been able to kill Ocelot, they should be able to pick up this inhibitor anyway.
Yeah, will they be able to push on? That's the next question, though. Ocelot is recalling. There's a big minion wave in the bottom, so Denial have to be decisive here. What do they do? Do they go for the win, or do they back off and defend their base? It looks like they're going to go for the defensive option, but they can't afford to stick around and... No! No, 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 no! It's working! Good! Go! Get back in there. There's a massive minion wave on the Nexus and in the top wave for Denial. They have been too slow to get out of the base, although I'm not sure if that was the lag of the server that made them look like they were being really slow or not.
At this point, I don't trust anything, Spud. My eyes are deceiving me on a constant basis. Warden, however, is chasing after Woolite. Lands the Void Spikes. Is Woolite able to turn this one back around? It's not looking too likely at the moment. He's trying to kite right now. Second ultimate has been popped from Warden, but here comes Super Ace to the rescue. In a Flame Wall land, Cullen comes out as well, and as I'm speaking, Yasuo picks up the kill on Ocelot. So, across the board, still fireworks in this game. 47 kills of 47 minutes. It doesn't get more action-packed than that.
It really, really doesn't. This has been complete bedlam for a very long time, but Denial are going to be trapped in their base now. They're going to have to defend that from the minions, and I don't really see Gamers2 going aggressive right now. This is probably going to be at most, like, if we're going to see another fight, it's going to be over this dragon, but I don't expect anyone's going to bother taking any risks to get that. We are now hitting the point of item caps. People aren't as interested in what there is around the place, so... right now, that means waiting until Ocelot respawns, waiting until that bottom inhib respawns, and then we might start seeing some proactive plays out of Denial. Before then, Gamers2 might start going for that top push.
Well, we're going to have to see how they try and approach this one here, Spud. No, please, 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 please. EU West.
Come on.
EU West. Yeah.
It's okay. Woolite's dying.
Woolite, however, is not enjoying his time right about now. There's the Solar Flare on top of his head. Collateral damage as well. That was overkill and a half.
But one kill at this stage, though, is so valuable to your
70
team.
seconds on a death chamber. That is huge.
Yeah, he's not going to be around. Plus, there's the minion pressure coming in the bot lane. They will be able to get double inhibs here at the minimum. And with no AD carry in the super late game right now, unless you get like a huge engage from Kikis and Babunia is allowed to just sit there doing tons and tons of damage, there's no easy way to defend when you've only got one Nexus tower.
That's going to be first inhib. Second to soon follow. And Gamers2 are looking in prime position here potentially to lock this game out. One of the Nexus towers is also down, so if they can manage to to pick off a member of Gamers2 before Lucian comes up. This could very well be the GG.
Yeah, they're looking for it right now.
Solar Flare in, there's Yasuo though, engaging on Ocelot, who again has been caught out of position. He is very nearly going to go down. They forced him away though, Babunia is the main focus. He's got the GA though, so he should be alright. And that being said, the GA is actually on cooldown now. So, they are going to take down Yasuo. That's going to leave it in a 3v5 for a few more seconds. That's their second Nexus tower going down. Now the Nexus itself is being focused. Yuki's taking so much damage, but they have finished the game off. And Gamers2 take the 1-0 in this best of 5.
Crazy game there. I have no, like, that was just mental. Completely chaotic. Like, people getting caught left, right, and center all game.